also just improved drastically overnight on the defensive end. We were giving up a ridiculous amount of points, with exception of the last 2 weeks where we gave up 23 against the Chargers. But that's a good Chargers offense. We gave up 9 to the Cardinals the week before and only 13 this week to a team who's 6-1, who has a really good run game and who has been playing well. This defense went from a team that was giving up 30 and 40 points every week to playing good defense again. And so I think one of the other biggest winners outside of Geno Smith this year has been Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's been one of the biggest winners. Pete Carroll and John Schneider, but Pete Carroll specifically. I mean, I bashed the Seahawks on Twitter for picking Pete Carroll over Russell Wilson. Like, how are you going to go on the Pete Carroll direction, the 71-year-old head coach, while you have a young quarterback who's still good in Russell Wilson? And that has been debunked for anyone that thought my way, which I would say there was a good amount of people thinking what I was thinking, right? Maybe even the majority, at least on Seahawks Twitter, thinking what I was thinking. And Pete Carroll has been, the redemption story has been perfect, basically.
Right. And yeah, no, in general, like I would say 90-10 were the people thinking the way you were thinking. I was in the minority and I almost felt like an idiot going into it because like I was trying to harp on it, right? I was like, why is everyone so down on this team? Why is everyone so down on Pete Carroll? Why is everyone, sorry, a lot of people were talking about tanking before the season even started. And I was like, are we really ready to just put the nail in the coffin in the Pete Carroll era in Seattle? And he literally, if there was a grave, he literally just punched through the fucking coffin and then threw all the haters into their own coffin and put them in. Like this has been
very weird analogy, but I feel you.
Yeah, it's Halloween, right? It's a coffin, like Halloween analogy. Let's go with that.
It's just a weird analogy. I was really wondering where it was going, but I understand it. It made sense.
Yeah, kind of in a weird way. But in general, this might be Pete Carroll's best coaching job of his career. Like for what the expectations were versus what has been achieved so far, only through 8 weeks, obviously. But I mean, that's almost half the season. It's maybe his best coaching job in his career.
Yeah, and I would say I want to answer that in like 2 ways or respond to that, because before you said it's the best coaching job of his career, the reason people wanted to put the nail in the coffin with Pete Carroll is because he wasn't having good coaching, having a great coaching resume the last 2 years. Last year, and you
Correct.
thought, why are people saying the Seahawks are tanking? Because they were bad. With or without Geno Smith last year, they weren't very good. And actually, they showed a little bit of a spark with Geno Smith, which could have been a sign, right? I know that I think they went 1-2 with Geno Smith, or
they did, yeah, 1-2.
The Steelers overtime loss. The Steelers overtime loss was they should have won that game, I feel like. So but there felt like a little bit of a spark, right, on some big plays and different things. And when Russell Wilson came back, there was a lot of stalling, like the holding onto the ball, a lot of just like the same Seahawks shit we were seeing. And maybe that should have been a sign that this is not just a Pete Carroll, the coaching issue, because it last year we thought we were kind of a bad roster too, right? Like, and now all of a sudden you're 5-3 with that same roster plus some rookies, replacing a $245 million quarterback in Russell Wilson with Geno Smith. So this has been a great coaching job, you're right, and a great redemption story. And it may also just be a sign that Russell Wilson was not the guy and he was holding down the Seahawks. And that sounds so stupid to say maybe like 5-6 weeks ago before the season started, or sorry, 8-9 weeks ago, you'd be like, Russell Wilson holding down the Seahawks. Like, come on, like he was a good quarterback. But no, maybe he was. I don't know if it's the ego. I don't know if it's the style of holding on the ball, but whatever's happened since getting Russell off the Seahawks has worked. Whether it's the vibe, the players, the listening to the head coach, because you don't have a superstar anymore. Technically, your superstars are a wide receiver in DK Metcalf, who doesn't really control the game, and Quandre Diggs, a safety, and Jamal Adams, who's not playing. Those are probably your three superstars, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, those are your three biggest names on the team. So you're absolutely right. In a weird way, maybe this is just an egoless team, and